Hello everybody, this is Tyler here once again from the Character Workshop. I got 99 episodes and I'm one away from 100. So, for the last Decade from England episode to be double digits, I am going to be ranking all 9 of the classic Doctor Who Season 2 stories. Seeing that over the course of a year and a half I've basically reviewed and discussed every single story from Season 2, I think it would make a lot of sense for me to do a video where I rank all of them from worst to best. Now, if you want to know what each of these stories are about, or my opinions on it prior to this, you know, obviously there's the Decade from England playlist to look at. There's Season 6, 7, and of course, the season that I'm on right now, Season 8. So, for anybody who wants, like, more in-depth knowledge of, like, these stories, you know, there's those videos to watch. But, with that being said, a couple things I want to bring up, of course. These are, of course, my opinions. Some of these stories you may think are better than others. That's fine. No problem with that. I'll respect your opinion as long as you respect mine. But without that being said, let's take a look at what I think is the weakest or worst story of Season 9. Alright, so number 9 on the list at the bottom would be The Web Planets, which shouldn't come as any surprise for people who know about that story's reputation. 6 episodes I feel like was a bit too much for the story. The Zarbi noises kind of get, you know, irritating after a while, and a lot of people say it was a bit too ambitious, you know? Had a huge budget, and they didn't really get to do much with it, and yeah, I don't really think I have much else to say. Web Planets, not the best, but it's at the bottom of the list for a reason. Alright, now for the number 8 spot. This may piss off some people, but oh well, it's my opinion. Number 8 on the list would be The Crusade. Now, the main reason for this story being so low on the list is because it only has 2 surviving episodes, that being episodes 1 and 3, as of right now episodes 2 and 4 are missing. And the only way to watch those episodes is through telestab reconstructions on the Season 2 collection box set. If these episodes were animated, I probably would have enjoyed this story a bit more, but that being said, that's where it goes. If we get the episodes animated, or if some miracle happens and we actually recover episodes 2 and 4, like the live action ones, and I get to watch the story in its entirety, this ranking may be a little bit different. But as that being said, The Crusade is number 8 on the list. Now for the number 7 spot, I'm going to give it to the Space Museum. And I didn't think this one was as bad as some people say it is. Like a lot of people say, episode 1 is the best of the 4 episodes in my opinion, but I think the story itself is okay. Interesting how it takes place kind of in one location, that being the Space Museum itself. I think it's really weird that Barbara and Vicky were the only females in the story. There was like no women at all on the planets on both sides, which I think is really weird. But that being said, I think it's an alright episode for it is, and Space Museum is number 7 on the list for a reason. Alright, now for the number 6 spot, I'm giving it to Planet of Giants, the first story of Season 2. This one was nice. It was a 3-part story. It, funny enough, was originally going to be a 4-part story, but they had episodes 3 and 4 being put into one together to make the story faster paced, I guess you can say. It's really enjoyable. I like it. And funny enough, I did remember hearing that the plotline for Planet of the Giants was originally going to be used as a plotline for the first story of Doctor Who overall, but they decided to save it for the 2nd season, which there's that. And that's how we got Unearthly Child instead of Planet of the Giants as the first story. But overall, Planet of Giants was really good. Love the set designs. 60s standards, it was pretty good. And yeah, overall, really enjoyable story. Not much else to say. Planet of Giants, number 6 on the list, but a really enjoyable one. Alright, now we're in the top 5. And now for number 5 for me would be The Chase, which is the second of the 2 Dalek stories that were in Season 2. And in my opinion, the weakest of the 2. I did like how this story was a callback to Keys of Marinus, with each episode taking place in a different setting or time period. Or time periods, because there were a few episodes that I think take place in like more than one setting, but that's besides the point. Chase was alright. The concept that the Daleks having a time machine was a little bit interesting. Mechanoids I kind of wish were used a bit more often. They were kind of some cool enemies. Shame they never appeared in the TV series afterwards. And this story was the departure of two of my personal favorite companions of the show, Ian and Barbara. This would be their last story on the show. And kind of a shame, but we wouldn't get Steven or anybody else if it wasn't for that. But yeah, the chase for itself was decent. Not as good as the other Dalek story from Season 2, which I'll eventually talk about. What place is it going to be on the list? You will have to find out later on. Alright, for the number 4 spot on the list, I'm giving it to The Time Meddler, which was the first proper adventure of Steven with the Doctor and Vicky. And this story, in my opinion, was most interesting for the fact that we get to see another Time Lord, I guess you could say, even though they weren't called Time Lords at the time, but another one of the Doctor's race of people. And really cool. I liked the interaction between the Doctor and the monk, who, of course, was the Time Lord I brought up earlier. And, of course, the very ending where the Doctor eventually outsmarted the monk at the very end and had him stuck in the medieval time period, which I honestly forgot what time period this story took place in. And I don't know if I ever brought this up in my original review, but Time Meddler was the first Doctor Who story that took place in a historic time period, but with some sort of alien interference, well, besides the Doctor and his companions, that is. And it was really interesting, and this will like go on to be a very common story idea for a lot of Doctor Who later on down the line, both classic and modern. So yeah, Time Meddler, not much else to say. Number 4, good story. Monk is a great character, not much else to say. Alright, now for the number 3 spot, this may surprise some people, and especially since I'm putting this a bit higher on the list than something like The Time Meddler or The Chase. But number 3 for me is The Rescue, the 2-part story that introduced Vicky. Very nice story, a bit simple, but it worked. I liked a lot of the things. First of all, Vicky's introduction was nice, and of course the whole Kakillian creature was a really interesting design. And spoiler alert for anybody who didn't see my original review of The Rescue, but the Kakillian ended up just being a guy in a suit. And that guy in the suit, of course, was the other crew member of, you know, Vicky's crew. And yeah, don't have much else to say about The Rescue. I know I'm repeating myself a lot in this review where I say, oh, I don't have much else to say, but it's the truth. You know, I talked a bit more in depth about these in my initial review, so this is just very brief. But yeah, I liked The Rescue. Nice, simple story. Number 3 on my list. Alright, now we have the number 2 spot on the list. And number 2 for me, my second favorite Season 2 story of Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who to be exact, is The Romans. Definitely the funniest Doctor Who story that I've seen so far. A lot of jokes, a lot of humor, really enjoyable. I also liked the fact that we had a different teams of the TARDIS crew with each other. There was the Doctor and Vicky who were together for most of the story, and then Ian and Barbara who were together for most of that story. Yeah, Romans, really good, really funny, definitely up there, and probably, I would say, my favorite historical story of Doctor Who that I've seen so far. Yeah, I love The Romans. Not much else to say. Now, obviously, since I'm covering 9 stories, all 9 stories of Season 2, there's obviously not going to be any honorable mentions, so without wasting any more of your time to talk about what my favorite Season 2 story of Doctor Who is. Classic Doctor Who. And it should come as no surprise, the number 1 best story of Season 2, in my opinion, is the Dalek invasion of Earth. Location footage of London, iconic and amazing. That whole sequence of Barbara and the others trying to hide away from the Daleks that were patrolling the entirety of London. It was really neat. This story was also the departure of Susan, the very first companion departure we've ever had. And her departure was handled very well, and the Doctor's speech towards her was really nice. Really appreciate it. Gotta give props to William Hartnell for doing a speech like that. The Robomen were kind of interesting Dalek minions, I guess you can say, even though this was their only appearance, but basically just humans under mind control. Pretty cool. And the Daleks, how can you go wrong with the Daleks? The Daleks are as great as always. Even in some of the weakest parts of Doctor Who, you know, you still kind of enjoy them in a way. And with that being said, I don't think I have much else to say. Those were my ranking of Season 2 of Classic Doctor Who from worst to best. If any of you guys have watched Season 2 of Classic Who in its entirety, and you want to share me your ranking, leave me a comment down below, let me know. But, with that being said, that's about it for this episode of It Came From England. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to give it a like, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more episodes of It Came From England, or just mediocre blush content in general. Be sure to turn on a notification bell, so you can notify you each time I upload a new episode of It Came From England, or any of my other shows. Leave a comment down below, let me know what you think about this episode overall. That's about it. This is Tyler from the Character Workshop, signing out. And since my poll for what you guys want to see for the 100th episode is over, I can now finally announce what the topic of episode 100 of It Came From England will be about. All I can say is, we all live in a blank submarine. That's all I gotta say. I'm sure everybody knows what that blank is, but to anybody who doesn't know, good luck guessing.